Hi, everybody.
Hey, good evening, Christian. I'm gonna make you co-host.
Okay, great, thank you. Hi, Martina. I think you're on mute, Martina.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Oh, sorry, my short's unbuttoned.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes, Happy New Year to you too, Martina.
Thank you.
Khalid, Happy New Year.
I know Teresa's going to be on soon. She told me she was going to be here.
Okay, great. I'm just gonna take some notes. Martina, I was walking around today to get a few more of those high traffic areas for the containers, so I'm just gonna I did add those notes here because I want to make sure to bring that up. Khalid, how was your New Year's Eve?
Went well, thanks. It was small. I went upstate and just visited some friends, and we kept it very low. I don't know how it's best to describe it, but just low key. So nothing extravagant or excessive or crazy. Everybody was vaccinated, in terms of who we hung out with, and we just rung in the new year, and that was really it. How was yours?
Sounds perfect.
Well, I wouldn't say perfect. I would say just maybe appropriate for the times, because
Yes, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
right. I've experienced. I'm not a fan of going to Broadway or 42nd Street to see the ball drop or anything like that. I'm not a fan of crowds in general, but I've had much more pleasant New Year's, but we have to do what we have to do in light of Omicron and whatever else is to come down the way.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Yeah.
How was your New Year's Eve, Martina?
Even quieter. I made, actually my daughter and I made that vegetarian lasagna, and we had board games and card games, and then we watched a movie. So, just a relaxed evening, really.
That sounds really nice. How old is your daughter?
She's 25.
Oh,
But she's an individual with special needs. So she's home playing card games with me. Poor thing, but she enjoyed it. So
well, how lovely of her and for both of you to be able to spend that time together on New Year's Eve and bring in the new year together, especially after a delicious meal of vegan lasagna, you said.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I'm trying to teach her how to cook, so she did pretty well. How was yours? How was your New Year?
I was very low key. I was with my girlfriend here on Clarkson Avenue. We went for dinner on Flatbush, and we had plans to go to see her brother in Bed-Stuy, but we just took it easy. Honestly, we watched we watched a show, and then we paused it to see the ball drop and Eric Adams get sworn in, and then we went back to the show, and 1 o'clock we were in bed. So yeah. I had COVID about 2 weeks. I think I mentioned to Martina.
I am so sorry that you contracted that. I hope it wasn't a bad case of it. I hope you had very mild symptoms.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I don't know if this is related or not, but I've had some chest pain, and I had a lot of that chest pain on New Year's Eve. So we just really took it easy. But
yeah.
No, I mean the COVID itself wasn't bad. Welcome, Matt. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you all?
Good, good. Thank you for joining. Happy New Year. We are waiting on Teresa, Vivia, and Mary. Is that right? Let's see. Yeah. We're just waiting on Teresa, Mary, and Vivia. I'm not sure. Have you heard anything, Khalid, from Vivia or Mary?
No, not from Vivi, aside from just sharing events for us to distribute on the weekends, but nothing pertaining her attendance or anything of that nature, to be unfortunately.
Okay, no problem. So we have 4 members here then. We have 4. Welcome, Teresa. Happy New Year. We have 4 out of the 6, so we have quorum. I think that there's a lot to discuss today, so I'm just gonna. So I'm just checking. Yeah, we have quorum. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining this evening. Happy New Year. We'll just start with, as we agreed upon in our first meeting, some of the meeting norms. Although we will not always agree with each other, please be respectful of one another, and let's remember our vision for the community in terms of greening our community and working with city agencies, and also that long-term goal of combating climate change. It'd be helpful if you use your raise hand function before you speak today. Right now it's just 4 of us, but who knows, there could be 1 or 2 other folks joining as well. And with that, I'll just dive into the announcements. 2 quick announcements. One of them I already mentioned to everyone via email, and that's that the city councilwoman for Prospect Lefferts Gardens in particular, Rita Joseph, it's our council district 40, is doing participatory budgeting. So I filled out a request based off of the priorities we previously agreed upon. It felt like, and the outline that in order to submit a project for participatory budgeting, it has to be at least $50,000. We don't need $50,000. So with that being said, I just put in a request to plant more rain gardens. Matt, I know that's really your issue, but I think you were out last month, and the deadline at the time was December 31st. So I just went ahead New Year's Eve actually and put in that request. The deadline may have been extended, I don't recall, but please check out the link that I sent you all and endorse the project, as that's one of our committee's priorities. Comment on the project if you'd like. And then take a look at the other projects too, because there's a lot of great projects that folks have proposed. So that's one announcement. The other announcement that I'd like to make is that, as I mentioned in a general board meeting back in November, the city's Citizens Committee has micro grants that allow community groups to get up to $2,500 to fund a program or a project. And I reached out to them, and I did a call with the program manager, and I explained our 4 priorities that we agreed upon. And it's not exactly for community boards. So I talked it through with her, and we figured out a way that I could put forth a proposal on behalf of our committee. And so I just want to let you know, I submitted a proposal about a week ago. We'll find out at the end of January if we were selected as a finalist for the proposal. And the proposal is to do 3 things. One of them is enhance a green space on Clarkson and Bedford, which is not one of our 4 priorities, but I thought that it still fits within our mission. The second component of it is to replace 3 old school wire trash receptacles in CB9, which is tied to the question of sanitation collection. And the third thing, and this is where I think really the bulk of the money could go, is for a environmental protection fair, which I know that Teresa is working on. And we have funding from CB9 as well. There is funding from CB9, but I want to just do our part as well and at least apply for this grant to see what could be possible. So I requested the maximum, which is $2,500. I think we might be eligible for up to 5,000. So we'll see where it lands, but I just want to flag that for you all. And in February, I should have an update. Last thing on that is that they won't announce the winners. They'll announce finalists in February. They'll announce the actual winners in the beginning of the summer. And so let's cross that bridge if and when we get to it, if we end up getting the money or if we even become a finalist. But I know that, Teresa, you have been planning for the spring environmental fair. And so if they were to announce these finalists in the summer, that'd be a little bit late. So we'll figure it out. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The good news is we have an application in. And if we're a finalist, then I can have another conversation with the program manager to see, to brainstorm around what might be possible. So any questions on either the participatory budgeting and the rain garden proposal or this citizens committee grant that I applied for? Or comments?
Sounds great.
Yeah, thanks for finding these opportunities and doing my work for me. Are either of these items? I'm looking at the new minutes template you sent me, Christian. Are either of these items? Can you just tell me where we are so far in this? And I'm going to send a link here to the document as I'm editing it. One moment, please.
Sure. Teresa, I'll get to you in just a minute. Thank you. The grant is totally new business. That's not something we had discussed in our December meeting, but I thought it'd be helpful for our committee, so I just went ahead and applied.
Okay. You can go ahead and take Teresa's question while I'm joining the meeting on my laptop, and then I'll be able to send a link.
Okay, cool. Teresa, please.
Yeah, did you send those to us in email?
The grant proposal?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I just filled it out on my own, and it was probably a paragraph. And basically what I did is they want to know, how have we engaged the public? And I said our meetings are open to the public. Sometimes we have folks that are not appointed to this join. And they asked, what successes have we had? So I talked about some of the meetings we've had with city agencies. Then they want to know a little bit more about the vision for our group. And I just called our group Friends of South Crown Heights, or residents of South Crown Heights and Prospect Lefferts Gardens for a greener community, or something like that. But I did not send the application to the group before I submitted. I just submitted it.
Okay. Yeah, I would just want to see it if possible. I don't really need to see your application, but I'm just interested in the grants. We actually, in my neighborhood, our block association has gotten the micro grant a couple of times, and it's going forward. For what we do, it's really good to have documentation of what we do, like especially photographs and stuff like that. So maybe if you don't get them this year, we can get them next time, and we can have some information about what we're going to do, what will be history by then, hopefully.
I think that's a great point, Teresa, and thank you for raising that. The way I approach our work together is really, I think this is the beginning of conversation and the beginning of relationship building. And Matt, when we all first joined this board, you emailed me and you said, is there some sort of pre-existing preamble, or is there some sort of constitution for the committee? And there really wasn't a ton of history on our committee. I mean, I looked at the minutes online in the last couple of meetings in the spring of 2021 were the minutes were very brief. And so, Teresa, to your point, I think about our collective work together as something long-term, and I think about the relationships we're building with elected officials as a long-term project as well. So thank you for raising that. And there wasn't an option to submit any pictures, at least in the application, but in my email to the program manager, I submitted a picture as well, just to further illustrate some of these topics. Matt, were you able to pull up the thing? I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Is the chat in this conference disabled? Because I don't see a chat here.
Yeah, I think we should have.
And that is actual policy throughout all of our Zoom meetings. I apologize.
Okay.
I think committee meetings should be able to have our chat on. It really, you could tell how it, even with our guest last time, it inhibits us from doing our work together to not have chat on. I think we should be able to have it on in committees.
I agree with you, Teresa.
I hear you.
Be sure to forward your concerns to the chair and the district manager, but I assure you, we likely will not reinstate chat because of past issues that we've had regarding inappropriate comments that we've had to field and so forth like that. I'd be happy to send over correspondence tomorrow via email as to why we no longer have chat, but that is a current policy as of right now.
As a possible solution, I believe on Zoom, a room owner can make themselves the only person able to send messages. So just for clarity, what I'm trying to do right now is send a link to the minutes as we go through the meeting, and I think it'd be helpful for us all to document that.
Best
But
I can do
can't get that link to people.
is allow you to share your screen, but I can't install or at least re-allow the chat, especially since we're already in the meeting. I can't change.
Oh, right. I understand you wouldn't be able to do it right now, but
Right.
if we were to propose some solution to, I hear you about why they killed it. I think they might be willing to listen to a proposal to reinstate it just for, I don't know if you're in charge of the room or if Christian is, but that might be something they're willing to consider. I'm
always happy to, let the district manager and the chair know that, for ideas or proposals regarding, chat or anything of that nature. But of course, I can't make any promises. I can only just, of course, let them know that, we've had residents and members who are concerned about the chat feature and want to reinstate it for the committee. So I'd definitely be happy to let them know. But like in the meantime, Matt, if you'd like for me to allow you to share your screen, if that might be something that's feasible for you right now, I can definitely do that.
I'm willing to do that. I don't know that I want my screen taking over the entire chat, but I think I'll get by.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you for the offer.
Any questions you can pose verbally, Matt, that I could be helpful with?
Are we? So I'm trying to follow the template here. Are we in between roll call and approval of minutes from the last meetings?
That's a good question. I didn't exactly follow the template.
And I don't, I'm not trying to be the template police. I just want to make sure that I'm going to submit something that will be accepted.
Yeah.
I'll add the things we just discussed to the new business area.
Okay, great. Yeah, we started the meeting at 7:05. We didn't do a formal roll call. We just said that we have quorum and we have, you, Martina, Teresa, myself on.
Yeah, I've got everyone there. Yeah.
I should ask, are there any changes to the minutes from the last meeting?
Do not believe so.
Okay, so then,
Did we get sent the meetings for approval? I didn't see that.
no, they're online. They're on the CB9 website, but they weren't sent out for approval. But that doesn't mean that we can't change them. But was there anything that needed to be changed? I think Martina, you took the minutes last month. I looked at them, I thought they were fine.
I'm sure they were fine, but I didn't see them. I don't even know where to look for them. I've looked at that CB9 website recently a lot, and there's no minutes posted for us.
You have to do the search, Teresa. So if you go on the CB9 website, you go into the search field, type in 2021 minutes, and you'll be able to locate the December 2021 Environmental Protection Committee minutes, okay?
Okay, but I guess we're having an update on the website really soon.
Yes, we will be updating the website really soon. In the meantime, in order for you to be able to access the minutes, that's what you're gonna have to do to view it on the website. Otherwise, I can try to attempt to send it to you. I don't have them on this computer, this laptop, so I'll have to figure it out the long way. But if you wanted to do a search for 2021 minutes, you can do that via the current website. And the new one should be released hopefully by the end of this month, maybe hopefully February. It is taking a while for it to be built.
Yeah, if just in the future, if when we get the invite for this, if we could get the minutes for the previous one and then be able to read them, that would be great.
That's a good idea. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, well then, if nothing else on announcements, I'd like to move forward in the agenda. We have a lot to cover tonight, and I would like to get you out of here by 8:30 at the absolute latest. Review of previous action items. That's always an agenda item for us. As far as I recall, there were no previous action items other than to continue with the 4 projects that we're championing. So with that being said, I'd like to go into the project that's really under my purview, which is parking and traffic enforcement. The week after Christmas, I met with Warren, Dante, Detective Beretta from NYPD, and Super Rice to talk about some of the priorities for our district in regards to public safety, obviously, but traffic enforcement as well. And the bottom line up front is that Detective Beretta acknowledged traffic enforcement is not a priority, but he's going to talk to his traffic enforcement director for the district to encourage them to start handing out more tickets, because we need to have cars being moved so that the street sweeper is able to do their job and run the broom and get some of this litter off of the street, and so that it doesn't get clogged in catch basins. So it was a good meeting. It was a constructive meeting. I thanked Detective Beretta the next day for organizing it, and I plan to follow up with him in a couple of weeks on this question of traffic enforcement, but I want to give him some time to do the stuff that he said he was going to do. Any questions on that?
So Christian, when you said traffic enforcement, this is mostly about alternate side enforcement.
I'm sorry, yeah, parking enforcement is really the question, and
right,
within
okay.
that, alternate street side parking.
Right, okay.
Okay, so I'll touch base with him again before our next meeting. I'll just check in. I'd like to then move to the planting of rain gardens. Matt, is there an update you'd like to share there?
So I wasn't present for the previous meeting. I imagine you covered the things I shared. I think the things I shared with you in advance. Were people able to see the map that that DEP is proposing for for rain gardens in the district? If not, I'm happy to show that again. Christian, you're nodding, but I don't know if others are aware of it.
I don't remember it.
Okay. I can find that.
Was this 2 meetings ago?
It would have been December's meeting.
I don't remember either. It might have been briefly mentioned.
I'm just going to pull up the city's geospatial data map. And okay, now would be a time where sharing my screen is useful. Okay. Where do is it automatically showing my screen?
So you should have the option at the bottom, share screen. Is it like a green
Got it.
box? There you go.
Thank you. Sorry, folks, Zoom is making me quit and reopen in order to share my screen. So I will be right back.
See you soon.
Okay, we'll wait for him to come back. The next thing will be sanitation collection. So when we get to it, Martina, if you can speak a little bit about the letter and also the trash receptacles, but we'll see when Matt gets back. He should be back momentarily. Okay, he's in the waiting room.
Khalid, can I ask you a question while we're waiting?
Yes, please.
Do you live in the neighborhood?
Yes, I live in Eastern Parkway.
Oh, okay. I just wondered, because I know some people on the board don't live in the neighborhood. I just was curious if you do.
Well, for reference, board members, they need to either live or work or have some invested business in the district in order to serve as a board member. City employees like myself, I only need to be able to live in the New York City metropolitan area in order to be a city employee. That's the only requirement. So just so you know of, moving forward, those are the base minimum.
All right, thank you. I just was curious
I understand.
since we have some time to.
As Matt is pulling this up, I'd like to offer a suggested bit of homework for all of us. This map that he's about to show us was really helpful when I went into the participatory budgeting thing to put forth a proposal for more rain gardens. Because what I said in the proposal is we have quite a few that have been designed or with the intention of being constructed in the eastern portion of our district, but on the western portion of our district and both southwestern portion and the northwestern portion, we don't have a lot of these rain gardens constructed, in construction, or even in the design stage. So I called for more of these rain gardens in the eastern portion, and it'd be helpful if when we reconvene in February, you all take a look at that proposal I put up and endorse it if you haven't already, and comment to it too, because when you comment on it, I'll see the comment and I can make changes. So I'll just want to flag that. Matt, I'll leave you to talk to us about the map.
Yeah, the blue dots, is that rain gardens? I use a phone to view this, just so you know, so it's small for me.
You're muted, by the way.
Oh.
Better?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, you can tell I'm a Microsoft Teams person, not a Zoom person, from 9 to 5. So the green dots are completed rain gardens. And I'll zoom out here so you can get a sense of where they are. So, you know, if I had to guess without seeing the map, I would have guessed that most of the rain gardens are down here in the really low-lying areas, but they're not. They are pretty close to us, actually, and so the brown boundaries you see are community districts, and this is us here, 309, and you can tell as I get in closer. Well, Christian, I'm having some doubts about what I just said. Is that in fact our district?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because when I sent this to you earlier, I have a feeling the data has changed here. Sorry for making this a journey through Matt's email. Nope. Okay, that's correct. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, there are maybe a dozen rain gardens currently built in our district. The blue ones are what are planned. And when I asked DEP what they mean by planned and when they expect these to actually be built, they said sometime around the spring of this year. So that is, you know, that's a pretty good number of rain gardens that they have planned. Earlier, you may have seen that I was looking for sorry, Martina, you have a question. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes, I just have a quick question. I understand what a rain garden is in theory, but what I don't understand is how is it going to be installed? Is it installed on the sidewalk? Is it installed in people's actual yards? I'm a little confused as to where it's going to be actually located.
So it is a bit like a sidewalk tree. It is a piece of urban infrastructure that is installed into a sidewalk, only unlike a sidewalk tree, and here are some, unlike a sidewalk tree, the curb is cut and the street is graded such that stormwater is directed to the rain garden. And the plants that are chosen for a rain garden are drought tolerant, but also flood tolerant. They can take on a lot of water in a very short time if you give it to them. And it's kind of interesting, if you go and find one of these and you know, the day after a big rainstorm, the rain garden is still flooded. It is a giant sponge deflecting water from the storm drain, and it can hold it for a long time. Even if it's already saturated, it can still keep water, and it'll keep on absorbing it over the next couple of days. So that's what it is. Teresa.
Oh, I would love to get a couple locations so I can just go in person and see them. Or
Where are you located?
I live near Ebbetsfield.
That's right. Let's see here.
So yeah, I would go, we could go on a field trip together even.
So the closest one to you, there are two of them on Bedford, the corner of Bedford and Empire, the southwest corner.
Wait, there's one on Bedford and Empire?
Two of them outside of these two buildings here at the southwest corner of Bedford and Empire.
There is no rain garden there.
Okay.
There is
I
definitely
don't
no.
remember seeing anything like that, but maybe it's there and we just didn't understand what it was. I don't know, but I don't.
Asset type,
In front of the
drywall.
facility, that would be in front of the storage facility. The location that he's showing
All
is
right.
like right in front of the storage facility, and I'm gonna go look, but I go over there every day. So, all right, I'm gonna check that. Is there any others?
Yes.
Is there one that you've seen in person? Matt?
No, not in our district. The ones in this map are a bit far from me. This one says constructed. Okay, so I'm learning more here. Asset type. The asset type on these was dry well. On this one, the asset type is detention system. So I need to do some more research and find out what those mean. Detention system.
Yeah, anytime you want, I'll go look. I
So-
walk my day, so I'll go look. I'll take pictures for you guys if you want.
So
I'm very curious about it. So
if they're using dry well here in the same sense that I've seen it used, a dry well is essentially a hole in the ground.
so it's just like there's
And so it's like a drain, and surrounding the drain leads to the sewer, and surrounding the drain there's a hole with the ground. So the stormwater rushes into the drain. Some of it goes down the drain, but there's also like for lack of a better term, a giant cup surrounding the hole so that not all the water goes down there. If that's what it is, it's not a rain garden. So that's interesting. I want to go and see this too. Detention system sounds more like what a rain garden would be. A place that's filled with rain gardens is over here in Gowanus. There's a stretch where it's just garden after garden after garden. And they call these, ROWB. Okay, I have a new
Where's that?
assignment. Say again.
what's the address? Like what's the
That's 6th Street between 4th and 3rd.
5th Street between 4th and 3rd Avenue?
Yeah. So yeah, I need to go and find out what these are, because if what they have, if all of these blue dots, now this isn't to say that a dry well isn't useful, but it's no garden.
Yeah, because if we're putting in
All
proposals for them, it would be good to know what they
Yeah,
what they we are. And
so all these say they have a concrete top.
Remember, Matt, those other ones though, they're not built yet. So if you went to go see those ones in blue, you wouldn't see them.
Right.
but the green ones are built. That's what this is,
The
right?
ones are built.
Correct. So here's the first one I found in our district that has the same asset type as the ones that I know to be actual gardens. And that's again, planned at Albany and Carroll.
So it's not even there.
Say again. It's being planned, correct?
Maybe they could put in a rain garden on that road behind Associated that they're trying to develop. I filled out a survey for that.
It's on Nostrand, correct?
No, yeah, no Strand. What is the little road that's behind? It's like an old path that Native Americans used. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
There's there's a road behind the Associated, between the Associated and kind of where the police are. And there's the,
Malbone Road. You're referring to Malbone Road, right
no,
behind.
no, it's not Malbone. I don't, maybe that's it. But it's, they have a sign up there and they're taking surveys for what you want to have done with that park when they develop it. Putting in a rain garden would be a good idea, I think. I did put that on the survey.
So-
I want to be, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, so I'm sorry, I'm just now finding this out, but given what we're learning here, it sounds like a lot of the items on here that the GIS system claims are rain gardens are other forms of urban infrastructure that that alleviate flooding. They're not gardens, but they are a form of flood prevention. That right there looks like a lot of what they'd be doing. It's essentially like, I imagine underneath this hardtop, there's like an underground cistern, just a giant barrel of water that once it gets up to a certain point, begins to empty out. How do we feel about that? I mean, I know it's not a garden, but for the purpose of environmental management of flooding, what should we say to the department about this?
I don't know. If they, I think there's a big problem with sewage gas around the streets that I walk in, coming from the grates in the street. So if they alleviate sewage gas and prevent flooding, you know, we don't have a huge problem with flooding here.
So one comment, and then Martina, you've had your hand raised for a while. In our first meeting, I think in September, maybe October, September, I think, a big part of our conversation was about localized flooding. I know that someone mentioned that at the end of my block at Rutland at Bedford, there were flooded basements after, I forget the name of the storm that we had in September. And that someone mentioned, you know, the city is publishing this stormwater management strategy that shows specific storm drains that they know to be problematic. And then we got to talking, well, you know, how do we help them deal with this? And rain gardens was one of the possible solutions that we came up with. Martina.
Yeah, I think that the option you mentioned, it's better than nothing, but just personally speaking, if we have a choice to have the rain gardens, I would much prefer that, because the greener our space, the healthier it is for all of us. And it also is just an emotional boost as well to see green around you. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what plants they use as well.
I'm sorry, I can't raise my hand, but I would second what Martina said. I think that's exactly right. Perhaps as a next step, it could be interesting to get a bit more granularity on the differences between these gardens, and then these quote unquote rain gardens. And then we could invite DEP to meet with us and talk to us and explain to us what these designs are and how they end up classifying them as rain gardens. And then perhaps even more importantly, asking for, if we feel like we would prefer the rain garden that you can also see as a garden, then we can follow up and be specific about that in a meeting with DEP. I leave that up to you though, Matt.
Yeah, so what's the secret to getting someone within DEP or any municipal agency to respond? Because, the DEP has I forget the name of it, something like community outreach team, whose job is to work with neighborhoods on environmental issues and communicate their own plans and get the support of communities in those plans. And I've been trying to contact people there, and it's crickets. What's the secret? Do you need to know someone?
I'm going to forward you email for a woman, Denise Hubbard, who works in DEP and who I met with in October, along with Dante, and she was very helpful. So reach out to her. You can copy me on the email if you think it'd be helpful, but just say that you're a member of the Environmental Protection Committee, and she should be able to help you. She won't speak to rain gardens, but she'll be able to put you in touch with the person that can, and then we can invite them.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right. Well, if there's nothing else on this, I'd like to move forward. But Matt, any last thoughts?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Martina, let's go to you then in terms of sanitation collection. If you'd like to, yeah, go ahead.
Sure. I'm hoping that everybody received the letter that Chris and I crafted over the holidays. A letter that we would like to send to Crystal Hudson and Rita Joseph, and I would like to hear your feedback on it. Basically, I mean, in a nutshell, we're proposing that they consider modernizing trash collection here in our district. I think that we talked about Eric Botcher, who's a council member in Manhattan's District 3, and he's spearheading it in his district. So I'm just hoping that we can all agree that it's important to have this letter sent, and at least get the wheels in motion for them to be thinking about it, and maybe if need be, even legislating something, because this is really a dire need for all of us. So anybody's input, ideas, edits, additions?
This is the one requiring businesses and apartment buildings to provide, I guess, better trash receptacles on the sidewalks. Is that right?
That's actually the petition, which
okay.
I'll get to in the public section. I'm going to talk about the petition, but this was a letter. I think Chris sent it out. How many days ago?
Sent it about within the last week. Let me take a look here. I sent it on Thursday, January 6th with the subject line 4-year review. And basically it calls for, as Martina said, to pilot a program that would modernize sanitation collection in our district and expand it to residential areas. And then it has some smaller requests related to sanitation in regards to traffic enforcement and the replacement of old wire trash receptacles and just picking up trash consistently.
When we use the word pilot here, has it been done anywhere else in the city?
Not yet. I think that there's some district that, or some place where they're going to be doing it in a business district. Am I right about that? And they're planning that sometime in the near future, but not in the residential. So obviously this has been done all over the world. We're just a little slow in getting up to speed here in the city. So hopefully we can do something brave and necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would add that something about new developments, maybe in the petition or future letters, that all new developments have some type of requirement for contained trash receptacles rather than just dumping it all, because the increase, as we well know, when you have a development in your neighborhood, that the increase in trash is astronomical, and smell, and there's no requirement to keep it in any kind of receptacle. So there's just bags tossed, and then they're ripped open, and it's all over the place, and it's disgusting, and it attracts a lot of rats. So this is any new development should have that as part of legislation, like a greening in general. I don't know, this is like an off topic, but I think any new development should have certain requirements to be greener, like solar, trash receptacles. There's a list, but I don't think much of that is happening, at least not what I've seen.
I think Teresa, that at one of our meetings that Suki mentioned that there's down the pike a regulation from the Department of Sanitation in which all apartment buildings of 200 units or more must have proper containment, but 200 and more, there's not that many buildings around here that have 200 units or more. So I think that's a bit ridiculous. We need to actually lower that quite a bit, and I'm not sure how to go about starting that conversation with Department of Sanitation.
When in the letter you say a plan similar to that proposed by is it Eric Botcher?
Yes, yes.
What kind of system is that? Like, is it a device? Is it a piece of infrastructure? Is it just a process?
I think maybe Teresa or Chris can help me with this, but I think that they're large receptacles that are out on the curb. And I'm not sure if it's a collective group of people that put their trash all in that, or if it's for each apartment building. But I think it's something like that. I know that there was criticism about Botcher's idea because people were saying that those containers were going to smell after a while, and that's going to be a problem. But I would rather have the containment and have, streets that are semi-clean. So
the containers you're talking about they're serious containers, and they're built with the expectation that the things inside of them are going to smell really bad, and they accommodate for that fact. So I've never written a letter to the council before. Is this the sort of thing where they would want to see examples of what other cities have done and rough cost estimates?
I think that's a great question.
yes, it is.
I think that I think that's for them to look at,
Okay.
They would have to look at the costs. We're planting it in Crystal Hudson and Rita Joseph's ear by saying, look in Manhattan at this gentleman, Eric Botcher, what he's doing. And let's start the conversation. We're writing you in a formal way. The next step is to hear your response, and then we go from there. But yes, eventually I think they would have to study it and look at how much it would cost. But I think that's homework for them and not necessarily something we need to do.
Okay. Then aside from that, I have no other feedback. I think it's great.
Okay, great.
As well, part two is that Chris and I have looked around the district at the old wire trash receptacles and trying to find the most area to put in the newer kind that are better containers and won't tip over and won't make a mess and overflow. So we're working on that as well. And I'm not sure, Chris, is it 5 or 10 that were allowed in this area?
5 that you chose, 5 that I chose. If we get this money from the Citizens Committee, we could change out a couple of others. But would it be helpful, Martina, if I share out the addresses of the ones you sent me earlier, and then I can share out as well the 5 addresses that I found?
Sure.
Okay. And to echo what Martina just said, for Matt and Teresa, who might have not looked at it before, we're really talking about the wire, old school wire receptacles that are just filled with trash. And there's different tiers of bins. What we would do is get that next tier, which is you can't see the trash. You have to put it in a small hole and then it goes down and that's it. And those bins are larger and the trash is covered. The next tier that you see in Manhattan is you pull that thing down, you throw in your trash, but that's,
The compactor.
Yeah, the compactor, but that's a whole nother thing. So the 5 areas that Martina found were President and Rogers. There's a lot of traffic there and there's a subway station there. There's no containers. Bedford and Sullivan, which is a busy intersection with lots of foot traffic. Nostrand and Eastern Parkway, we know that's a busy area. Franklin and Montgomery, there's a park there and we want to make sure the parks are clean for our kids and the community. And then there's a number of other places, but I think where we landed was Franklin and Sullivan because there's no container at all there. And then the 5 that I came up with, so Martina was looking at north of Empire Boulevard. I was looking at south of Empire Boulevard. And the ones that I came up with are Clarkson and Flatbush, the northeast corner, which is, it's on Flatbush, which is that's the busiest commercial area in CB9. Winthrop and Flatbush, also along that commercial strip. Clarkson and Bedford, there's a bodega there and there's a grocery store across the street. So there's a lot of trash, but we don't have one of those larger, more modern receptacles. Hawthorne and Flatbush, and then Fenimore and Flatbush. So a lot of Flatbush, our busiest commercial corridor, and then and then the other ones that Martina mentioned. So look, I want to say that there's a lot of other places that we could request new trash bins for. I know even CB9 replaced many of them last year. And if we get this money from the Citizens Committee, then my thinking is that we could replace another, let's say 2 to 3 trash bins. Each replacement costs about $800 to $900. But as a start, I think it'd be helpful if we put to Community Board 9 a request for funding to replace these 10 trash bins that Martina and I identified. Thoughts on that from the group? Sure, Martina.
This is not actually related to this, but just getting back to the letter for a second, are we supposed to vote on the letter as a committee? So I'm just wondering, do we do that tonight, or when do we vote on this?
That's a great question.
How do we go forward with it?
So what I'd like to do is actually put the letter and also these 10 locations to a vote as a package. And I'll do that now. I'd like to entertain a motion to to send the letter that Martina and I drafted to the new council members and copying the borough president and perhaps Fred as well. I'll check with him to see if that's the protocol. So sending that letter, and at the same time, as part of our priorities, requesting money from CB9 to adopt a can and change out these 10 different old school wire receptacles. So I'd like to entertain that motion. Is
I
there
second the motion.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Um, Heard
Sorry, go ahead, Teresa.
Oh, I vote yes.
So,
Letter
sorry,
and Fred.
I had to turn off my video because my connection was not great. I'm fully supportive of this, and I'm wondering if instead of replacing the wire ones, if we already have them, why not keep them? Because I've noticed, yeah, we need better trash cans, but the ones that we have not only do a bad job of, not only are they open to the air, they're just, we have piles of trash next to the trash cans. I don't know why that happens. I don't know if it's because there's a very busy weekend and sanitation wasn't expecting that, or sanitation doesn't pick them up often enough, but I want better trash cans, but I also want more of them. And if we're paying the money for new ones, do we have to get rid of the ones we already have?
That's a good question. So Matt, what would be your idea of, what's your idea in terms of the old trash cans? And Maxine, thank you for joining. I'm sorry if you were waiting a while. I just saw you, you were looking to get in a few seconds ago.
No, thank you for having me. I was in the Europe meeting, and I certainly wanted to join you guys and see where we're at. I didn't wait long.
Okay,
Thank
good. Sure. We're talking about trash, replacement of trash receptacles. So Matt, what would be your idea in terms of those older receptacles?
So
Well,
I'm not a sanitation logistician, but I mean, when I look at it, common sense tells me just have 2 trash cans right there. And this is, I live near Flatbush, and last weekend when I walked down Flatbush, it was every single trash can overflowing and having another pile of trash next to it. So on the very heavily trafficked corners, we need volume.
Okay. That's a great question. Here's what I would propose. I propose that we've had a motion, and that motion has been seconded to vote on a letter to the council members and also to replace these wire trash receptacles. Replacing these wire trash receptacles, as if we end up voting in favor of that, then I'm happy to have a conversation with DSNY to see if that would be possible. And we could go from there. How does that sound, Matt and others?
Sounds great to me.
Can I comment on it?
Sure.
Well, I think that having 2 might be a safety issue, but also with the trash cans, oftentimes, if you have a trash can on your corner, they may just take it away. And some neighborhoods are punished by having your trash can taken away if too many people are dumping residential garbage in it and things like that. And oftentimes the extra that you will see is from people dumping from residents. It's also Department of Sanitation is just not doing enough pickups. And we've had issues with that on Nostrand. I'm glad Maxine is here because she's dealt directly with Department of Sanitation and getting more pickups on Nostrand where there were garbage, like so much garbage over there that it was ridiculous. And it's a bit better now after she spoke to a supervisor.
yes,
And it's helped. And the on our street on Sullivan and Bedford, I'm telling you, they took away our trash can for years, and I had to beg, plead, complain for like a year to get a simple trash can put there. And now we got a fancy one thanks to Dante, but it's not easy to get a trash can sometimes. Just for the record, that's what happened to me in our neighborhood. So we're grateful for our trash can now because we get a lot of traffic where we live.
Well, that's why I came. I'd like to update you guys as to the developments on the corners of Nostrand Avenue between Empire Boulevard and Sterling Street. I directly reached out to the chief of Brooklyn South Sanitation, and I have an ongoing relationship with him. He is very receptive, and as Teresa pointed out, you could see, for those of you who, and it looks certainly, you could see the market difference on Nostrand Avenue between Empire and Sterling. It was a cesspool. It still has its problems, but he has given me extra pickups, and he has done a great, great job. He has even went into the commercial sites and asked them to cooperate with us. I went into 1032 Nostrand Avenue, which is the chicken facility, and spoke for the Block Association and all of us, our community, and said, which, you know, I'm old, maybe I'm wrong. I could not believe that these commercial sites don't, by habit, by care, by the privilege of doing business in our neighborhood on a daily basis, keep the front of their establishments clean. Okay, stay with me. The owner of the chicken place told me that that was not his job, that he didn't have to do it. Now, the chief is very, very measured. And I would like to ask the committee to stay abreast, and I would like to see a more enforcement done. In that I believe that by law, they should keep, when they come in the morning, sweep every morning. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. And it's easily littered on an ongoing basis. Having said that, I'd also like to point out that when you see a clean neighborhood, I don't know if most of you realize we had a shooting here at this corner on Christmas Eve. Five people were wounded, I believe one fatally. So I said that to say, I believe that cleanliness even sets a culture. It makes people perform and act and treat the neighborhood better. You see garbage, you act like garbage. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. I know I talk long, but as a committee, I would like us to say we are the Community Board Number 9 Environmental Protection, Chief of Sanitation South. Please go back to these shop owners and say, this is the last one. Because I believe he's given them at least 2 to 3. You agree, Tara?
I'm sorry, I want to just jump in very quickly, Maxine. Thank you. What I'm hearing from you is that there's an issue of enforcement and that they've done a better job on Nostrand between Empire and Sterling. And that when we have a community full of trash, then our behavior may change and we act inappropriately. I hear that concern. I think it's an important concern. Sorry, my phone just rang. I'm happy to bring that with whenever I meet with Super Rice next. But for the sake of our agenda, I would like to stick to this question that we just mentioned, which is we have a motion, we've entertained a motion, the motion has been seconded. So how would we like to vote on sending this letter to the council persons and also requesting the replacement of these 10 trash bins from CB9? I vote yes in favor, and I welcome the vote of other folks, of the other committee members.
Are these the $12,000 trash bins?
No.
Oh.
No.
I vote yes.
Okay.
I already said yes.
Teresa?
You did. Yes.
Okay, so that's a unanimous vote in favor of sending this letter to the council members, and also sending the 10 locations to Community Board 9 district managers, asking CB9 to replace these trash bins. Matt, I think this will be something important for the notes. I'll follow up with Fred, Khalid, Dante, to send them the locations, and then also send the letter, and I will report back in February with an update on the letter if it's already been sent. My intention is that it should be sent by next time we meet in February, and also where we are with those locations. So that being said, I would like to move on to the next agenda item, which is the Spring Environmental Fair. And I'd turn it over to Teresa for an update there.
Oh, okay, so hi everyone. I identified a spot that I think would be great for it. Mark and Jason's playground is a park. Taking into the input that everybody put in, I thought it would be better to move it out of Prospect Park and the usual places and into this park that doesn't really get used that much. It's on Sterling. There's an entrance on Sterling and there's an entrance on Empire, and it's off of Nostrand. And it seems to have, it's a playground. It has some trees. It seems to be a pretty good spot. I took some pictures if anybody's interested. And I thought we could, I would just wanted to identify a date. I'm looking at a few different dates in late April, early May, not wanting to interfere with Mother's Day or there's like an Earth Day, but there's also like the holidays. The kids are out of school. I would not rather do it on those days. Those would probably be out of town. There's several big lots over there attached to the school, and when I've been over there investigating, it seems to be those lots are open behind the school as well. So those are just plain lots with nothing on them, just like concrete, gravel. And the park is pretty good. So I was thinking I made a list of I started making a list of potential people that we could invite. I did contact one group, and I through the Rad Academy, which I've attended, they send me letters to invite me. So I responded to one of them, and somebody contacted me, and I met them, Martha Vernaza, and they would definitely come and put a table up. They're like the Rad Academy, but they're also like kind of an environmental management pest control group, and they are interested in Central Brooklyn. So I think they would be they seemed very responsive and very kind and willing to come to our fair. And they want a date, and they asked me for they said they need table and chair to do it, and then they can come, that they want us to promise that. And I was looking at like a list of things that we'd need to have a fair there, and before I invited anybody else, I wanted, because I got such a kind, quick response, I was so happy. I would just want to invite some other groups like that. And I haven't made a full list, but I was thinking like maybe have like the Maple Street Garden come, Sanitation usually is really good with tabling and hands out the cans. I was hoping to do a plant and seed giveaway and put that into our budget. I also thought, I was like having big ideas and talking to a few other people about it, of having different groups tabling, maybe doing a project with kids to make signs to put in the tree pits, and maybe having the botanical gardens come, and maybe having a jazz band. This is me thinking jazz band, a movie with an environmental theme, maybe later that night if it's warm enough. Like, all these things are on my list, and I'm not really sure how to do budget for all of this. And I've inquired with Dante, maybe Khalid can answer this, but do we have where do we get the tables and chairs from? Do you guys have some in storage? Like, some community boards have that. I'm hoping we could have that or purchase that. I actually made a purchase for a school for tables and chairs for an open street program recently. So I have an idea about that, but all right, that's a lot of ideas. And I have big hopes for this event. So anybody have any input?
Go ahead, Khalid, please.
So yeah, Teresa, in terms of answering your question, yes, the office, we do have tables and chairs, but and Christian will be able to follow up with you on this, especially regarding like the budget proposal or submissions for any events. You would just list in one of the fields or items, what you need. So if it is chairs and tables, you would put table ×5 or chairs ×30. If we don't have it in office, we don't have it in office, and then we would have to look into vendors that do provide those resources. But essentially, you're just encouraged to, jot down what you think is needed. That's really it. Just, I think Dante did say just think big or go at it. So yeah, that's what I would leave you with.
One question I have, I remember Jesse Hamilton's office had a projector and a screen that he would say would lend us. Does CB9 have that? Does anybody have that? Do you know?
We do have a projector, but I can't I can't verify how great it is. It's an old projector, essentially. We used it when we were doing in-person meetings, and maybe Maxine would remember that it fit on like a very small, tiny screen. And if you were far up in the audience, you might have a little bit of difficulty looking at it. But we do have a projector. And like I said, if in your proposal for an event, you name an item such as a projector, we would look at it and say, well, we've had this projector for a while, maybe it's time to place an order for a new one. That would be something to be thought about or to be discussed on.
Yeah, I was looking forward to like a list or something from past events, and Dante didn't seem to have that. So I was hoping to go like that, the health fair that happened. I was hoping like there would be like a list that would help me, but that doesn't seem to be available. I would like whatever list we have to be made available for future.
What list what list do you mean? A list
Oh,
of
like the health fair. I was just hoping to see what they'd done, like how they requested things and how they got like just basic things like tables, chairs,
they're just understood. Okay, I see.
And like how they just like, how they requested it, or their list, or their draft. Because I'm working on one, but I'm just writing it in like a note, a note on my computer, and that I would like a little more direction. But I have big hopes, like
just just draft up your proposal and send it to the office, and we'll take a look at it and see how we can assist. I remember with the Health and Social Services, or at least the health fair, I'm sorry, the tables and chairs that were provided, they were provided by a church that is located on Lefferts between Bedford and Washington Avenue. And we just transported the items from the church and onto the actual street itself. So and there are community partners that would be willing to assist in some way, shape, or form. So The concept is for you to just jot down what you think is needed, and we'll worry about how it's acquired, moving forward.
Would you be the ones to get the permit? Because I know to have an event in a park, you have to have a permit, right?
We'll
So would,
facilitate it. Yes, we would facilitate the permit.
that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm psyched. Is anybody have any like dates or anything that how would I pick a date? Do I just pick it? Because
Just pick a date. What do you propose, Teresa?
um I'm looking at my calendar for a moment.
I think I mentioned too that Earth Day is around that time. That could fit in nicely. I know Mother's Day is the time when we want to be with our families. That might not be a good time.
Well, Earth Day and Mother's Day are right next. The April 22nd is Earth Day, and that's spring break, and Mother's Day is the April 23rd. Wait, no.
Mother's Day is in May.
Oh no, sorry, that's my mother's birthday.
I know what Mother's Day is.
I'm sorry about that. Orthodox Easter.
And one thing to consider, if we get this grant money from Citizens Committee, I don't think it would come through until June. So have to figure that out with the fair.
Well, also, we were talking with the Parks Department about doing something together, and what's that Parks Department chair's name? Nicola. Yes, Nicola has this great vision that that we could be part of, but he wants to do like a weekend event involving every single committee in June. So I was hoping we could get this done earlier.
Okay.
And
wouldn't Earth Day be the excellent time to do it? Wouldn't that be very appropriate? I think that's a great.
Earth Day is Friday, so I was hoping to do this on Saturday.
Do it the day after.
Yeah.
I think that's April 23rd. Do we have to decide today?
We need to put a date on the calendar so that when you go out and fill out the budget request form, at the top of the form, you're going to put the location and also the date. So the date could move a little bit, maybe a week or two, but we need to have an understanding of what the date could be.
All right. The April 23rd, you think that's okay?
That works for me. What about for everybody else?
Sounds good.
April 23rd, give or take a weekend. Well, the weekend before that is spring break.
Okay.
Wait, that's during spring break. That's not gonna work out. That's the schools are all out then.
Okay.
I'm gonna definitely be away. So what about the 29th, 30th?
I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here. That'd work for me. What
April
about for everyone?
30th?
That works for me as well.
Okay, so let's have tentative date April 30th, if that's
Great.
okay.
That sounds great. Thank you, Teresa, and thank you for all the work you're doing. I think a lot of those partnerships that you talked about, Maple Street Gardens, Sanitation, doing a giveaway, seed giveaway, DP, Rat Academy, who you already spoke to. I think a lot of that stuff would be great. Why don't you, as a next step, fill out the budget request form? I just put it to the top of your inbox again. You can send it to me. I can help you with it, and then we can submit it, or you can submit it to the district managers.
You think they pay for plants and stuff like that?
We'll see. They might.
That would be great. Seeds, plants. All right. Thank you, everyone.
I'd be able to get the Botanic Garden to donate
Any
a few
ideas or-
small
or-
seedlings.
Oh, sorry. What did you say, Matt? I couldn't hear.
I said you might be able to get the Botanic Garden to donate a few seedlings,
Yeah,
few small
I'm-
plants.
Yes, I gave you Nina's from the Greenest Block in Brooklyn's number, Tara, to call Nina for seedlings and free plants. Also, I would like to suggest to you guys, certainly the police department would have to be invited. Having said that, the community affairs has a jazz band that is all police officers. It's very, very nice. So certainly you would reach out to the community affairs of the 71st precinct and request that an invite for their jazz band for a little background music. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking of a band like more, like not too loud, just to not. I like people to be able to talk and hear each other, but the band like more near the end, like earlier in the day, like kind of have a progression of events.
It's a jazz
Yeah,
band.
I had no idea that the community affairs police had a jazz group.
I don't know that it's community affairs, but once on our block party, they showed up on Lefferts, the jazz band, as part of the police department. So you could ask.
That's interesting.
Because certainly you have to reach out to community affairs. You need police officers there. Security.
Yeah. Well, I think that I think when you do an event, they get notified, but they get notified. I don't know what kind of permit process you go through. I just know for other permits I've gotten, especially for the block association, that you have to get a sound. I don't know if the park's a little different, but for sound and stuff, but if it's acoustic, it's a little different than if you have amplified sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if we got in touch directly with community affairs, I think we may or may, it will be on their agenda, but it would be nice to include them for sure. Right?
Let's
They would
fill-
come anyway, wouldn't they?
They should come if it's a fair. Yeah, they should have an officer or two assigned to the fair. Let's fill out the form. That's going to get your brain jogging a little bit more because they'll ask certain questions. I can help you with it, and then we can get it into district managers and go from there. And if we do it, depending on the timing, we might even have feedback from district managers that we can share out in the next meeting in February.
Okay. Do I need to have anything in before the general board meeting or?
No, just before our next committee meeting.
Okay, didn't we have a proposal or something for the last meeting? Didn't we make a proposal, like we had an item for at the general board meeting that we ended up able to
I'm
do?
not sure. That's going to be in the minutes online. I'm not sure. Check online on the website that Khalid mentioned earlier. You'll be able to find the general board meeting minutes there. It's possible that we did. We have to move forward then to public discussion. So, and it's 8:30. So I'd like to turn the floor over to Martina.
Thank you. And Chris, I realize we're supposed to be leaving in 1 minute. And there's two things that I want to mention. One is that I realize that there are limits to the scheduling of the EP meetings. And however, there are 10 days out of the month, 5 days out of the week, and maybe 3 days, 3 hours out of a day in which there's many variations of times and dates that we could meet. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when we schedule this at the same time as the ULERT meeting, it's a problem. And the problem is that some of us want to go to the ULERT meeting and, give our input. And there's people from the ULERT meeting that want to come to our meeting. And so I am concerned about, you know, just presence here. And I'm also completely confused because I know there's limits, but mathematically speaking, there are choices. We've got 10 days, you know, we've got 5 days in a week. We've got maybe 3 hours that we could, you know, vary meeting in. And I'm just confounded. So that's one thing that I wanted to put out there for everybody. And the other thing is that I wrote a petition for proper trash receptacles for businesses and apartments in, you know, District 9. And the reason why I think that a petition would be good for residents in this community to sign is twofold. One is that if in fact I do end up actually meeting with supers and landlords and merchants and have a discussion, if I have the power of the people behind me with the petition saying that we almost unanimously need you guys to clean up, I feel like there's some weight there and some power there. The other reason that we need a petition, I feel, is that it will add heft to the letter that we wrote to the council members, showing that it's not just CB9 EP meeting members that are concerned, the whole community is concerned. And so I just want to put it out there. And I want to hear everybody's thoughts about their feelings about the petition. If they had a chance to look at it and they want to add or subtract, edit it in some way. I just want to hear your feedback.
Teresa?
Oh, I was, you know, I read the petition and I support it. I was thinking about it today, and the only thing I would add is that I think when you have a petition and you say CB9, that a lot of people don't really understand what CB9 is, and to maybe include the names of the neighborhood on the petition, so people understand that it's, you know, Crown Heights, just to include the names of the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
That's all. I think should be, I'm sure all of Brooklyn is very interested in this kind of petition because it's a big problem. We also have to be thinking of, you know, the problems with sanitation and the illnesses and funding. But I'm behind it.
Thank you.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else?
Matt, is there anything you'd like to share, or Maxine?
Well, Inspector, I'm not sure of his exact title. Is it Inspector or is Chief Rice? I don't know that a petition is necessary because he's very approachable and very receptive. I believe that if you just merely first, if necessary, petitions certainly work, but initially, why not just send a letter from the committee requesting 2 warnings and then enforcement? If that's what you meant, Martina, in terms of the petition, because the garbage is a huge problem. We can't hear you, Martina, unmute.
Yes, I also mentioned the sweeping and the hosing down and cleaning of the sidewalk as well, to ensure that, and also to ensure that there's no trash collected around planted areas too. So you're saying that first, it might be a good idea to initially write a letter to.
Ask him to come to the meeting, invite him. How about that?
And what is his name again?
Christian, Chief Rice. I don't have the email. Do you, Christian? I can give you.
Yeah, I have it. I can
Martina.
send it to you, Martina.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Thank you. You'll send me his email?
I'll send you his email, yeah.
Why
Okay.
not invite him to the next meeting? What do you guys
Yeah.
think? Good idea?
I like that idea.
Teresa, Matt, Christian?
Sounds good to me. I think all around, we could use more input from the civil servants who are, responsible for doing the kinds of work we're always talking about here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have a member of DSNY come. I don't know if it'd be him. I know he's the big boss for our district, but he might have a community affairs person that would show up, and I'm happy to explore that with him and reach out and see if he or someone else from his team could meet us. I've met with him before. I've been on a call with him and met with him in person. He is. You're right, Maxine. He's very
Yeah.
accessible. It's just,
I think he'll come.
yeah, I think he or someone would come. I don't know what his schedule is at 7 p.m. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because these folks are up at 4 a.m. sanitation. But so Martina, I think it might be helpful then if I reached out to him and invited him or someone else
Yeah,
to come,
sure.
and we can share this idea with him, and go from there. I hear what you're saying about the petition, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm and your ideas behind it. I think that's awesome. My concern about the petition as it's, and I also think that you're right, it would boost the letter we're writing to city council persons. My concern with the petition is, just to be very frank about it,
Yeah.
we have elected officials in our district who don't think very highly of CB9. They think we're a joke. They think of the old CB9 where there's a lot of issues, there's this, there's that. And we are trying to collectively, through our committees and through CB9 as a whole, almost rebrand ourselves and get the good, important work done on behalf of the community. And so we have to be very careful when we write things in public, whether it's a letter or a petition, because we want to make sure that we're sending the right message to these elected officials. And there were one or two things in the petition where I thought it was lacking an enforcement mechanism. In fact, in other words, I thought we were calling for something that was just not lawful. So that's my concern with it. But this is a democratic process, and if ultimately our committee says and votes to send a petition, then that's what we're going to do. But as a next step, let me go ahead and reach out to Super Rice and invite them to our meeting. Would that work?
That sounds like a good first step.
Okay. And also, I also just want to add too that I think a petition can always be done by an individual, and the person can even say too, I, as a member of CB9, Environmental Protection Committee, XYZ, it just would have to be reframed as, instead of the CB9 Environmental Protection Committee believes, it would be more, I, as a member of the CB9 Environmental Protection Committee, believe. And then you're shopping it with people and asking people to sign. But that's a bridge for another meeting. The next step, and I'm just writing this down, is I will reach out to DSNY and invite them to our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
This is kind of a different topic, but the same, is Matt mentioned like how to reach city agencies. I have, just to let you know, I found great success using Twitter and just putting an at with their name or just DMing them. I had, especially recently, I've had success with DOT. I was waiting for a street to be closed for a school, and the school had gotten permission, gotten permission from the community board, and this is in Manhattan, where I'm working on a project for school, and the DOT wasn't sending the barricades, and I wrote to them on Twitter, and within 48 hours, they responded to me right away, and the barricades were there. So it could have been coincidental, but they responded to me that, okay, they're coming, they're going to be there today. So that's just an example of, I think Twitter is a good way to reach out to organizations directly, often, at least for me.
I found the same in general. It's a very good way to short circuit bad customer experience situations. Like if you need to change a flight and there's a 30-minute wait time to talk to someone. But when it comes to the city, I haven't had the luck you have, but I should try it more. Thank you.
Yeah, let me know how it goes if you do
I
it.
will.
That's helpful. Thank you. Thank you both.
DOT has been really good because I've complained about a few other things too, like bike racks and things like that, and they always respond right away.
Thank you. Maxine?
Yes, quickly, I would like to say that the politicians respect the advocacy of this community. There are certain politicians, I won't name names, that have worked very well with me, and I got great results from them. So I think that they would appreciate, certainly this innovation is coming out of this committee, but I don't want anyone to think that they frown upon the community and the result-oriented advocacy that we have done. We've been arrested, but all know about 960, and now we just have a new success win at 990 Franklin Avenue. So quickly, yes, there's dysfunction. There has been dysfunction, and it is when there's advocacy and pushback. So I appreciate this committee and the transparency, which is what the community has advocated for, been arrested for, and fought for. So many of the politicians do respect them. I mean, I can name them. Dinah Richardson helped me very well as Assemblywoman. We know that she's now going to be borough president, deputy commissioner, the clerk, unit clerk, and so on. So, Christian, don't think that they will not be receptive to you coming from the good place.
That's helpful.
That's all.
Thank you, Maxine. And certainly you and others have done a great job of advocacy over the years. And
Thank you so
that's
much.
well appreciated. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is moving to the last agenda item, which is just simply any other business. And I would add the caveat, any other burning issues that if we don't discuss it this evening, you just are going to be tossing and turning, you won't be able to sleep. Okay, seeing none, I would make a motion then to adjourn this meeting.
Meeting adjourned. Second, right?
Okay, seconded and some waves. Thank you, everybody. I think we're doing a lot of great work, like Maxine said, and looking forward to reconvening in February. We all got a little bit of homework to do. Have a good evening and see you next month.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Khalid. Bye-bye.